All right, y'all. Friday Night Smackdown review for November 18th, 2022. Solid Smackdown night. There was more than one Bloodline segment, which is always good. We had two more matches in the SmackDown World Cup tournament. And then I like the LA Knight Bray Wyatt segment. That was pretty good. All right, let's get to it. First up, we had the Brawling Brutes come out with Drew McIntyre. Sheamus says it's been a 20-year rivalry that has turned into mutual respect. He's talking about Drew. And then he says there's no one he would rather be in the trenches with than Drew McIntyre. And then he asked Drew will you be our honorary broody? Shit. And then Drew says nobody knows what it's like to be outnumbered by the bloodline like me. When the odds are even, that's a different story. And then Sheamus says, I'm going to let you know who the fifth member is. They only got 4 guys in their group right now for War Games on their team. And then Sami Zayn comes out. He says, my dogs. We don't care who the 5th guy is. Speaking on behalf of the bloodline. He says, we're feeling oozy about the whole thing. And the crowd starts chanting oozy. He says, you're getting in our heads. He guarantees the bloodline will win War Games, so he guarantees it. If they lose, Roman's probably going to kick this guy out of the bloodline. And we'll see what happens. All right, first up, we got the Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali quarterfinals in the SmackDown World Cup tournament. Ali hit a clothesline for a 2 count. And then Ali hit a backstabber from the top rope. And then he hit a Hurricane Rana. Ricochet hit a Michinoku driver on Ali on the outside. Back in the ring. Ricochet missed a corkscrew from the top rope. Ali locked in a submission. He choked him out. He was trying to choke him out with his leg. Ricochet got to the ropes. Ali hit a tornado DDT. And then Ali missed a 450 splash. And then Ricochet hit a shooting star press while Mustafa Ali was standing. And he got the win. So next week it's going to be Braun Strowman versus Ricochet in one semifinal match. And then next up, we got a segment with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn and Jay are arguing in the back. And then Jimmy says to cool down. So Sami goes away. And then Sami comes back, and him and Jimmy Uso do their handshake. And this Jay broke character, so he started laughing. He was just looking behind him, so people couldn't see that he was laughing. And then there's another segment in the back with the New Day. They're pretty much just reflecting on their tag team title record that was broken last week. And the Imperium shows up. And then New Day challenges Imperium to a 6-man tag. Next up, we got Madcap Moss versus Karrion Kross. Moss hit a suplex, and then he hit a clothesline, sending Kross to the outside. And they're back in the ring. Madcap hit a fallaway slam. Karrion Kross threw Moss into the ring post. And then Kross applied the cross jacket for the win. And Moss tapped out. And we got Bray Wyatt's segment in the ring. He says, changing isn't possible. He was conditioned to be as strong. Taught that fear is respect. Then he says, he looked at the path I left behind me. When I look at it, it's covered in ashes and blood. Why do I do the things that I do? And can I actually change? And then he says, if I was LA Knight, I know exactly how I would handle this situation. He wants to apologize to LA Knight. And then he says he had a moment of weakness and I strayed from my path. And now LA Knight comes out. He says, this has got me conflicted. You just talked about fear and respect last week. I didn't fear you. Maybe I got some respect. Nobody ever understood me. And then he says, I think you respect me. And then LA Knight slaps him. And then he says, we're done. And then, so he just stands there on the apron, LA Knight. And then Bray says, there's a lot I want to do to you. And he says, the decision you're about to make right now is going to change the rest of your life. Then he says, we're even. So Bray Wyatt puts his hand out while LA Knight's standing on the apron, and then LA Knight slaps him again. And then LA Knight leaves, and then the camera zooms in on Bray Wyatt, and he's got like a possessed look on his face. Just look like fucked up. He's gonna kill this guy. All right, next up we got Shayna Baszler versus Shotzi. This is a terrible match. Shayna just hit a German suplex, and then Raquel Rodriguez comes out, and then Shayna just kept looking at Raquel Rodriguez like she's gonna do something, and then Shotzi just pinned Shayna with the roll up. And we got a segment in the back with the Usos and Karrion Kross. They're trying to figure out who the fifth member is for the Brawling Brutes team in War Games. So Jay says to Karrion Kross, "Are you the fifth member, Us?" And then Jimmy says, "Nah, he ain't in." And then Kross says, "He is not a follower." And Jimmy says, "You're not trying to make a name for yourself off the bloodline, are you?" And then Kross says, "When I come to take Roman's titles, I'm going to do it on my own time. When I do, I'm not going to show up in some pack. I'm going to show up all on my own." So maybe a little bit of a tease here between later down the line, Karrion Kross versus Roman Reigns next year. So we'll see what happens with that. It was a good segment, though. And then after the Shotzi and Shayna Baszler match, it shows LA Knight in the back. It looks like he's leaving the arena with his luggage. And the reporter says, "Are you scared of Bray Wyatt that we're leaving?" And then the door opens to the outside the arena, and it shows Bray Wyatt. He's got a mask on. And then the door, he closes it. Back from the break, it shows LA Knight on the ground unconscious. He's like buried under a bunch of weapons, chairs, and other things, equipment stuff. So yeah, it looks like they're building to a match between LA Knight and Bray Wyatt. Probably not gonna happen in Survivor Series. It's got a little builder up a little bit more. And I'm not sure about if LA Knight's gonna be like a main event level guy for WWE right now. So it's too early for that right now. But so far, so good for this segment tonight. Hopefully, there's more segments from LA Knight and Bray Wyatt for this feud when it builds up eventually to their match. All right, next up we got Imperium versus New Day and their surprise tag team partner Braun Strowman. In the beginning, just the brawl breaks out between all 6 members, and then back from the break, Braun gets the tag, he cleans house, and then he chases Gunther around the ring. So he does his Strowman Express spot outside the ring. He just runs through Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci with the shoulder tackles. And then Braun hit a spine buster for a 2 count on Gunther, and then Gunther tags out. And New Day hit the Midnight Hour for the win. So Braun Strowman's probably going to be the person to win the Smackdown World Cup, and then he faces another big guy. Gunther does. He faced Omos last or Gunther faced. Oh no, who was it? Braun Strowman faced Omos at Crown Jewel, so he's going to face another big guy. It's going to be a hell of a match between Braun and Gunther probably. Next up, we got Butch versus Sami Zayn in another match for the SmackDown World Cup quarterfinals. Sami hit a powerbomb for a 2 count. Butch hit a tornado DDT for a near fall. Back from the break, Butch hit a elbow with Sami jumping off the top rope, and then he got a 2 count. Sami hit a blue thunder bomb for a near fall. And then the Bloodline and the Brawling Brutes, they started just fighting outside. Butch hit a moonsault to the outside on the Usos. And then Butch hit the bitter end for the win. So Butch is going to face Santos in a semifinal match next week for the SmackDown World Cup tournament. And then Roman Reigns music hits. So he comes out. He cleans house pretty much. And then Kevin Owens comes out. So this is the 5th member for the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre. And he beats up Roman. He gives him a stunner. Sami and Kevin Owens have a stare down. And then Roman hit a He had a Superman punch on Drew McIntyre and a spear on Sheamus, I think. And yeah, so that was it for SmackDown. So it was a good build for the War Games match tonight. 5-on-5. Think it looks like the Bloodline's gonna lose War Games since Sammy guaranteed it, and they're not gonna have Sammy stick around the group for like throughout the summer. So he's probably have to fuck up in the War Games match for Roman to kick him out with the Bloodline. So yeah, the Brawling Brutes, their side should win War Games next week, and then yeah, and also the Bray Wyatt and LA Knight segment was good. So yeah, that was pretty much it for SmackDown. All right.